Talk about it with Franjez. Today's special guest has interviewed megastars ranging from Snoop Dogg to Hulk Hogan. He's an author of 9 books. He's a founder, a curator. The list goes on. Today's guest is Jon Chattman.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I like the couch.
Good.
Nice.
I'm glad it's comfortable. Good.
Yeah.
All right, let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
Yonkers.
Yonkers. Oh, me too. I didn't know.
Yeah.
What hospital? St. John's.
Funny story. I was born in New York City Hospital.
Oh.
I don't know why. It's very interesting. But yeah, New York City Hospital.
All right.
I think that's what it was called. I don't know. But yeah, my mom was born in the city. And for some odd reason, she gave birth to me there.
Sometimes it's because that's where her doctor is and that's what she knows.
I guess, but you would think like maybe you want to give birth nearby.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, especially if it's like some last minute rush.
Right.
Yeah, you're better off being close.
Yeah, you would think so.
Absolutely.
But yeah. But lifelong Yonkers
Nice.
kid right here.
Nice. Very nice.
Should we hold for applause or?
Oh, no, they're clapping at home. We don't have a live crowd, but they're clapping at home, I promise you. So tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, so I have an older sister. My parents are really cool, still are, just a lot older. My dad is a teacher. My mom is a preschool teacher. My sister's a teacher. My wife is a teacher. I'm not.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like the black sheep.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Although it's funny, I did minor in education in school just in case. Just in case I gave in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I did substitute teach for a year.
You don't like it.
It was fine. It was good money, but no,
Yeah.
it was just not for me.
So you say school, is that college?
College. Wait.
That you took a minor in?
Yeah, in college.
That was college.
Yeah.
So what did you go to school for, major?
I went to school for journalism
Journalism.
and got a BA in journalism. And that's kind of where my career still is. I still write.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a degree in journalism, wrote for, it's funny, like I didn't think I would go into journalism and I was going to switch my major and I didn't really know what I was going to do. And then I went to an advisor and they're like, John, you're 2 classes away from actually getting the major. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not changing my major then. But yeah, and then I ended up like going into journalism. I worked for a couple of local newspapers, and then I was editor of newspapers, and I was like, well, newspapers are dying, so I guess I'll go into marketing. And yeah, so ever since I've kind of been dabbling between marketing and writing.
What initially piqued your interest to do journalism, like before college? What made that decision?
So growing up a fat kid in Yonkers, which by the way would be the title of my autobiography, ... would what's it called? Movies were escape for me. And I just told you before you hit record that like I put this on airplane mode whenever I go to movies, because movies are always and always have been like escape for me. So growing up a fat kid in Yonkers, they were escape for me, and I would actually write like movie reviews. And what started as like me just kind of like writing reviews and watching like all reviewers and all that turned into like me writing reviews for my high school paper, and then me being the movie reviewer of my college newspaper, and then ultimately like me writing reviews for local newspapers, and then me writing reviews every now and then for the New York Post and like stuff like that. So that's kind of why I went for journalism, because I was like, I'm going to get a journalism degree and I'm going to write movie reviews. And they're like, that's not how it works. Yeah. But that's why I went into journalism. I was like, I want to write about entertainment. Yeah.
Very nice. I like that. Do you have a favorite genre of movies?
It's funny. I would say comedies. and I would say that there's not enough comedies like being made. But like, it's not a genre, but I tend to like skew toward like more independent movies lately. And by lately, I mean probably by the last like 25 years. But comedy is like all my favorite movies growing up were comedies.
Which ones?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Big with Tom Hanks is like up there for me. But like the original Police Academy, which I literally watched 11 times in 2 days. I never forget that because my parents thought there was something wrong with me. And they were right. They were definitely right.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then, just like comedies. Yeah.
You like the Jim Carrey a lot?
Jim Carrey's funny. Yeah. I like him a lot. My I would say in my top 5 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Top 5, easy.
That movie's so deep. I wouldn't even really consider it a comedy, even there's so much comedy in it.
Yeah, no way it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's definitely comedic elements.
Absolutely.
But no, I mean that's kind of a downer. I watched that again during COVID. Not probably a good idea, but I mean,
a lot of it was filmed in Yonkers.
Really?
Carroll Avenue. My friend used to live there. He told me when it was being filmed. Then when it came out, I was looking for things. I'm like, I know exactly what that is. It's one of the parts where he's, when he's getting his memory removed and all that stuff. Yeah. You'll see like a store behind him, and then the sign of the store will go away. It's right there in Carroll Avenue.
Oh, wow.
In Yonkers, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Really, really cool movie.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's up there. Like, that's probably like top 3. There's my favorite movies. So there's Star Wars, which I believe is above movies because it's like a separate entity on itself. The original 3, I'm talking. And then there's like my favorite movies because it's very hard for me to differentiate between like the experiences and movies because I look at Star Wars as more of an experience for myself as a kid. So,
so besides Star Wars and Spotless Mind, what are the other 4 for your top 5?
Favorite movies?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm asking because I love movies. So
yeah. It's funny because I have a Star Wars tattoo right here. And then I just got a tattoo of the movie Luca, which came out during COVID, which is a Pixar movie that very few people saw because it came out during COVID. They released it straight. Streaming on Disney Plus. So I have Silenzio Bruno right here, which means basically get outside of your own mind. It's if you saw the movie.
I haven't.
So I got that. I have kids, and it's funny. I got it for myself. What's it called? The other tattoos are for the kids. But so let's see. So Empire Strikes Back. Royal Tenenbaums is up there.
Wow.
That was also shot in Yonkers, by the way.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. That was
Royal
shot in
Tenenbaums. I thought that was like a different country.
No.
It seemed like England.
No, that was actually shot not too far from where we are right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I won't reveal where we are.
I appreciate
We don't want people knocking. Like, who's that weirdo you had on your couch? Who's talking about tattoos. Yeah, I don't know. There's just like so many to name, like The Professional. That's up there.
Oh, man. Just one more.
One more movie. Let's see.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio?
I do.
You like Denzel Washington?
Love Denzel Washington. He's a Mount Vernon kid.
Yeah.
Man, Glory is a great movie. It's not in my favorites. I'm going to say E.T. I'm just going to go with E.T.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. I'm going to go with E.T. But we could probably spend the next hour and I would like swap out my top 5.
All right.
Like so easily.
If you think of something, just bring it up.
We're going to be talking and I'm just going to like shout out a movie.
Let's do that. Yeah. I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's go through the intro I gave because when I was doing some research on you, on Amazon, I saw there was only 7 books that were published. Then when I did more research, I found 8 and then 9.
Yeah.
What's the correct number of books you've authored?
9.
9. Okay, so I was right.
Yeah,
Good.
So there's it's a funny story. So one is kind of 2 of the books are kind of the same, but they're not. So one is a celebrity mustache book called Sweet Stash, which I wrote at the wrong time because the mustache, like, renaissance...
Don't sell it short. It's Sweet Stash. 50 badass mustaches and the faces who sport them.
And if you Google it and you want to buy it, you'll be among, like, 3 people who bought it. So I'd really appreciate it. Still getting the royalties on that one. So before that, it was called The Book of Bert. It had Burt Reynolds on the cover, and then the publisher went out of business.
Oh.
And honestly, like, I don't even remember. It happened so long ago, but he stole something. I don't remember what. Like, he didn't give me something. Maybe it was like it wasn't like a lot of money, but let's just say he didn't give me some money or something. But I got him to send me an email that said, you own this. This is yours. So even though I wrote it, I just wanted him to just release himself from owning anything. And once he did that, I pitched the book to other places, and then I pitched it to this one publisher who bought it and said, can you double it in size? And that's Sweet Stash. So the Book of Bert became Sweet Stash. So it's 9 published books. That counts twice. The other one is by the same publisher, a different book that, because he went out of business, no one can get it. But if you Google it, it's called Rock On. It's like there's one copy on Amazon for like $1,000 or something. Don't buy that. Don't buy that.
Yes, I have that one on my list too.
Yeah.
And I had the Book of Bert on here too.
Yeah.
So that's the same one as the mustache.
The Book of Bert is just half of Sweet Stash. And kind of refined a little bit. And then
is it like pictures of people with mustaches, then you explain who they are?
Cartoons. Well, basically it was ranking on a scale of 1 to 10, in my opinion, and my co-author, good friend of mine, like what we ranked mustaches on a scale of 1 to 10.
Only cartoons.
No. It was illustrated. It was an illustrated book.
Illustrated, but real people.
All real people, yeah. But then there were like top 10 lists, like top 10 best Western mustaches, top 10, sci-fi mustaches. It's a really absolutely ridiculous book.
Do you still? I'm jumping around. Do you still do movie reviews? Because that's big on YouTube. Have you seen?
I have. So I don't do movie reviews. Sometimes I'll do theater reviews, like on the Westchester Pop, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
You review just the property, the theater.
No, I'll review like And Juliet on Broadway, or like a concert I'll review, or maybe occasionally movies. I don't know, but for the most part, not really.
You would have made a killing on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I stopped writing it was I felt like, and I have a problem doing this in like real life anyway, is I think all the time. And when I would watch movies, I would think about what I would be writing. So like if I'm watching a really good performance, I would be thinking about what I would be writing about the performance instead of appreciating the performance. So I just stopped writing it because it was actually taking away from actually enjoying movies.
You're making it more like work.
Yeah, it was work.
Yeah.
It was work.
I understand that completely.
So like I'm thinking of like, oh, what's my first sentence going to be? Instead of then like I'm thinking about plays on words, and I'm just like, just watch the fucking movie,
Yeah, that'll definitely ruin it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's continue down the book since we're on the book topic.
Yeah.
You got some long titles too.
I know. That's why they didn't sell.
Very long titles. How the Red Sox Explain New England.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So I'm a Met fan from Yonkers, and I wrote a book first. I'm a Yankee hater, so everyone can just shut this off now. Actually, I don't hate them as much. I hated them more in the Derek Jeter time because they just won a lot, and the Mets didn't do shit. So, who's going to really like the Mets when they're losing all the time? Not like now where they're winning all the time. But anyway, so I wrote a book called, and this is with my buddy Rich, called I Hate the Yankees.
Is it the one that's I love Red Sox /
Yes.
I hate the Yankees?
So, but originally it was I Hate the Yankees.
Okay.
And the publisher said, great, but can you make it a Red Sox book too? So then we did the other half, I love the Red Sox. And what ended up happening was, because we wrote I Love the Red Sox, I Hate the Yankees, which, by the way, even if you're a Yankee fan and you read that book, you would laugh your ass off because it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's like, there might be like a top 10 list of fake like Yogi Berra-isms like called yogasms, and they might be sexually explicit. if that wasn't done, it was a book concept idea that I had that I never pitched to anyone because only I thought it was funny. But anyway, anyway, I don't know. Yogasms, by the way, I want to just repeat that. Yogi Berra, yogiisms. Anyway, so they asked if I could write it, and then like halfway through writing it, they really liked it, and then I think they just thought that I was a Red Sox fan because then they pitched, "Oh, do you want to write this book about New England?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Meanwhile, it's the publisher's idea the whole time to throw the Red Sox in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I appreciated the Red Sox because no fans hated the Yankees more than Red Sox fans. And
yeah, that's perfect.
So it was still like, and I'm a huge baseball nerd. So like it wasn't like I was like writing something I didn't know. So I did a lot of research on the Red Sox for that book. And then I was like, oh, I can write this book. But the funny thing was, here I am, this kid from Yonkers, growing up a Met fan, and the Mets beat the Red Sox in the World Series in '86. And I'm writing about what it feels like to live in New England, worshiping the Red Sox. So that was fun. But anyway, the book is very authentic because it's a collection of stories from people actually from New England. And then I interviewed like a bunch of former Red Sox players for that book.
That's amazing.
I think Kevin Millar is in the other one, that I Hate the Yankees one. Bill Lee is in there. Tim Wakefield, who just passed away, he's in there. I forget who else. It was fun. I mean, it was fun. If you're a baseball fan, it's fun. It's just ironic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That sounds good. You got to interview some players. That's great.
Yeah.
The next book, Superfly, the Jimmy Snuka story. Did you get to speak with him?
I wrote his autobiography.
Wow.
So that was a trip. It was cool. It ended badly. Not him and me, but just in general. But I'll start at the good stuff. I grew up like in the Hulk Hogan era. So I missed Snuka in his like heyday. But Snuka came to the WWF, WWE, like later on anyway, and, you know, the whole thing jumping off the steel cage. But anyway, so I got asked to write his autobiography, and he was not very articulate, and I'm not, God rest his soul. So it was very interesting to write his autobiography of this guy from the Fiji Islands who did not speak great, clear, coherent sentences. And if he were alive today, he would be sitting right next to me and be like, "That's right. I can't do it. You're right." He took a lot of chair shots. He took not a lot of chair shots, but you know, like he took a lot of wear and tear from the ring, and he did a lot of drugs. And but what was interesting was I found a way to write his autobiography in his own words, by talking to other wrestlers.
Oh.
So I basically got an education in Jimmy Snuka from talking to Roddy Piper, from talking to Mick Foley, from talking to The Rock's mom. The Rock actually lent a quote for the back of the book. Anyone in the 80s who wrestled, who was alive back around the time of the book, I was on the phone with. Wow. I spoke to Ric Flair. Ric Flair hung up on me twice, which was awesome.
How do you get in contact with those people?
Through his wife. So Jimmy Snuka had all those numbers. Jimmy Snuka's wife had all those numbers, and I just was like random. Some of the calls, because of the East Coast, West Coast, and other coasts, were just completely bonkers. I remember being on the phone with like some people at like 1 a.m. and like it was amazing. It was an amazing period. And then I got Jimmy Snuka to open up by watching his matches with him. So I basically he would be on my couch.
What an experience.
Yeah. He would be on my couch, and he would just be like talking about his famous matches. And he'd be like, "Oh yeah." And this is how he told, like, "Oh yeah, bro, like blah, 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 blah." And he'd be just talking about the matches. And I would literally just be typing what he would say verbatim. And that was a trip. And what ended up happening in a nutshell was when we did the PR tour for it, there was an incident with his girlfriend 30 years prior. It was an open case or a closed case. She had died. He was implicated in it. The case was closed. Some stuff in interviews, either during the PR tour, I don't even remember, or in the book, opened the case up.
Oh my God.
And then he was arrested. And then they tried him and he was too sick. And that was the end of it. And then he passed away. But because of all of this, I wasn't really allowed to like kind of make peace with him. So that's what I meant when, like I said, like it
ended bad.
Yeah, it didn't end bad with me and him. Like I loved it.
Ended bad for him.
It ended bad for him.
Oh man.
But I never had, I occasionally still talk to his wife. He was awesome with me. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Like just from being like a 80s wrestling fan to just like have Jimmy Snuka on my couch or going to IHOP, or going to Dunkin' Donuts in Yonkers. It was awesome. I was at a Yonkers. What the hell? This is like Yonkers. Everything is Yonkers.
Yeah.
Everything comes back to Yonkers in wrestling. I was at a Yonkers Dunkin' Donuts. Me, Jimmy Snuka, and my then newborn. And someone I know walked by and he's like, "Hey, John." I'm like, "Hey." And he was like, it's the greatest thing.
Oh man.
It's like Jimmy Snuka in a fanny pack and like it was fucking the best. It was the best.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wrestlers always wear fanny packs.
Always wear
I think it's because they're always wearing like gym attire. They're always in like sweatpants.
Yeah, and I guess they don't have anywhere to put their keys or whatever.
Yeah. Wallet, phone, keys.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Whatever works. I guess they can.
Man, I have so many questions, but I don't want to just stay on this, but like anything stood out from calling wrestlers, any amazing story out of that?
I'll tell you the best story. So Roddy Piper was amazing. And I was very sad that when he passed away, but Roddy Piper was one of my favorites. So talking to him on the phone for an hour and a half about the coconut. Do you know that? About hitting over the head with a coconut?
I don't think so.
All right, you got to YouTube that, everybody. Hitting Jimmy Snuka over the head with a coconut is a very famous WWE moment.
Roddy Piper did it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a big moment. But my favorite story from that whole experience is I was working my day job at a music school and I had to talk to Ric Flair. So I closed the door at a music school and I'm in my office and like, I don't want anyone to walk in, right? So I have my door closed and everyone like knocks on the door. You know how working in an office, it sucks. Everyone just violates your privacy all the time. So I'm just like nervous someone's going to walk in, nervous I'm going to get caught because I'm doing something I shouldn't, even though it was my lunch hour. Anyway, so I call him and he's at a hotel bar. And anyway, there's a whole thing about kayfabe and breaking kayfabe. Basically, the bottom line is there's some old school wrestlers who want you to believe that back in the 70s or whatever, it was real. Like if you were a bad guy in wrestling, you only hung out with bad guys. If you were a good guy, you only hung out with good guys. So if Ric Flair is a bad guy, he's not going to a bar with Jimmy Snuka, who's a good guy, because they're enemies, because that's what you're showing the public. And that's what they did before, Vince McMahon Sr. bought everything and went to TV and all this shit. Anyway, so Ric Flair told me he didn't want to break character. So he didn't want to address what Jimmy Snuka was like outside of the ring. But he started to.
Oh, good.
So he was telling me like, oh, like Jimmy, inside the ring, Jimmy would do this and this and this. And then I would ask a question. And he was like, "John, I told you I'm old school." So that's what he would say. Ric Flair is yelling at me on the phone. I'm at my freaking day job. And I'm like, "Mr. Flair, you had said this and I'm just trying to get a sense of whatever." And then he's talking, and he's not giving me anything. Actually, if you read the book, you'll see there's like one Ric Flair quote, and it sucks. And I only put it in just to have Ric Flair in the book.
Yeah.
It's like such a generic quote. Anyway, bottom line, we go through this back and forth, and then he's like, Jon, I told you I'm old school, hangs up.
Oh, man.
Then he calls me back. He's like, Jon, I'm sorry. I hung up on you.
That's amazing.
Like, and he's like kind of like cutting a promo on me. And he's like, I'm sorry. Blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, well, fuck it at this point. So I asked him another question about what Jimmy Snuka was like outside of the ring. And he went furious on me.
I'm old school, Jon.
Yeah. He yelled it again. He probably dropped an F-bomb and he hung up again. And I'm sitting at my desk at work. And I opened the door. No one's there. And I just smiled. And I was like, I don't need to do anything in life. I just got cursed out by Ric Flair.
That's amazing.
So that was it. That was like one of the best stories from the whole experience.
That is a great story.
But if anyone like has read that book, because I know a couple of people have read that book, didn't sell. But I know none of my books sell. By the way, if there's any publishers watching this, my books don't sell. Anyway, so. But if you read the book, there's like literally nothing from Ric Flair. Yeah,
that sucks.
But it was fun.
It sounds like an amazing. Ric Flair's my favorite wrestler still to this day.
Yeah, and by the way, I love him still. I have no problem.
Probably love him more.
Yeah, I mean that's him. Like I got the authentic Ric Flair at a bar. It was probably 10 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
You know, and. Yeah, I mean, what else could you ask for? Getting chewed out by Ric Flair?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anyway.
All right. Literally moving forward. And the name of the book is Moving Forward.
I was going to say all my other stories are going to suck.
Yeah, right? That, we should have left that one for last. No, they're all going to be good.
Yeah.
Moving Forward, real instructions to totally made up books.
So Moving Forward was an idea I had, and it percolated for 10 years. And what's it called? I got to stop saying that my books don't sell. I don't know why my brain went there. But it went there because it didn't. So this concept, I had an idea because I had written a lot of books, and you get someone to write the foreword. The idea of a foreword is you get someone big, like, for example, Roddy Piper wrote the foreword, or Mick Foley, I forget, for Jimmy Snuka's book. And it's basically someone just saying, if you don't know what a foreword is, what's it called? Jimmy Snuka's a great guy. He was so great in the ring, and what you're about to read is a lot of fun. Enjoy. Something like that. Not as lame as that.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, after I'm writing all these books, damn, it would be really funny if there was just a collection of forewords to books that don't exist. And after 10 years of literally sitting in my head, I found a publisher who said, yes, that's a great idea. They gave me a very small budget. So what I had imagined would happen, not to knock any of the celebrities that I got, because they really did an amazing job. I imagined like Zach Galifianakis and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and I don't know, whoever. Insert, those kind of people. But I was given like no budget. And I also had to be mindful that part of that budget was me, my advance. So what I ended up doing was I said, the hell with my advance. I want this book to be as good as possible. And it still didn't like make a dent. So I had, it's kind of like you're at a candy store and you have $4 and you're like, and I want a drink, but I want candy. And it's like, well, what can I do with all of this? And that's kind of how it felt. So the celebrities that I got, I'm very proud of. I got Shirley Manson, who's the lead singer of Garbage, who I love. I love that band. And she wrote a great story and she was amazing. And the surprising thing is I thought it was going to just be a humor book. And it ended up being like this cool thing where there's like sci-fi stories and there's like murder mysteries and like, it was cool. John Oates from Hall & Oates was in there. John Oates is in almost every one of my books. because of the Mustache book. Because he wrote the foreword to the Mustache book.
Nice.
And I am in his autobiography, by the way.
Wow,
If you go to
that's
John
beautiful.
Oates' autobiography and you look at the back, my name is listed in there. Sorry, world. Anyway, but anyway, so the coolest thing to come out. So Moby's in there. Rainn Wilson from The Office, who's Dwight Schrute, he's in there. I'm going to forget everyone who's in there. The coolest thing is Adam West, the original Batman. He's in there. He wrote a story in there. I don't remember what it is. I think it's like fly fishing or something, which is hilarious. And before the book was printed, he died.
Wow.
And his estate said, sure, please, go ahead and do it. So the coolest thing, 2 cool stories from that book, which sadly no one bought. Like, sadly. And by the way, I'm joking. People have bought my books, just not the amount where like I can financially live or survive or feed my children. But the thing, it was such a time suck in a good way, the book, that you kind of want to see something come out of it. But anyway, the cool thing about that is Adam West, it is his last thing that he ever did in his life. And it's my book.
That's big.
And the other cool thing is I got an email. This is funny. God rest his soul too, right? By the way, not the way these guys want to go out on, I'm sure.
Of course not.
Like dealing with like this fucking moron. But
Dealing with books.
yeah. So I got an email right before the book was published, or like a couple of months before, saying, hey, essentially, like, we can't wait for the publisher to pay him. Can you please send a check so that we can close out his estate? So not only is my book the last thing that the original Batman has done, it is also the last thing that he got paid for.
Wow.
So
It's a good thing.
I guess.
His family got some money out of it.
Not a lot,
Not a lot, but
so
something for his work.
someone got paid for it.
All right. Next is Time Heals: Cheating, Stealing, Spandex, and the Most Villainous Moments in History of Pro Wrestling.
Not my finest hour.
No?
That book.
You don't like it?
No. It's
It's a bunch of stories of these things.
a quirky wrestling book.
It's a true stuff? Is it all like...
Yeah, it's all like kind of like making fun of 80s wrestling, like One Man Gang is Akeem, what the hell was it? The African Dream? I forget. I don't know. It's making fun of how like silly 80s wrestling was.
All right.
And how, actually, no. Is that the book? Because there's another one, Battle Royal in the Sky. Maybe that's it. I get
the
them
next
both.
one.
I get them both mixed up. We can tackle both at the same time.
It must be that one because it says The Life and Death of Wrestling's 100 Greatest Gods and Gimmicks.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that one.
Yeah, that one. Battle Royal in the Sky is good.
That's the
Time
good one.
Heals, I can't even describe to you. I wrote half of it at McDonald's in Mamaroneck.
McDonald's.
That's all I remember from it.
Man.
It was not a fun experience. The Gimmicks, Battle Royal was appreciating the wrestlers that passed away and gimmicks that died. So we did 2 plays on words there, like, longing for the days of wrestling back when it was cheesy.
Yeah.
And kind of remembering the people who made it that way in a good way. That book was fun. Time Heals, I don't remember. There's a review of it on Amazon that says pure junk. That's it. And every now and then, because I co-wrote it with my friend Rich, every now and then he will just text me pure junk. and I love it. I love it. It's true. It's
Bring you back to reality a little bit.
It probably is pure junk. Yeah.
So, you had a Reuben sandwich with Macho Man Randy Savage.
I did.
How did that even come about? Was that part of interviewing for Snuka's book?
No, actually. So for a while, I I wrote. So while I was while I was writing for the newspapers back in the day, I would dabble freelance. I would freelance write. Dabble with freelance writing? Is that how you? I don't know.
Yeah, I like it.
Anyway, we'll work with it. Basically, a lot of the writing that I was doing was soul sucking. So I looked for an outlet to write about pop culture and stuff. Because the movie reviews came later. Like, like after a couple of years of writing just vanilla news stuff and other stuff. But anyway, so I would freelance write. And one of the places I freelance wrote for was Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics had an offshoot pop culture magazine. This is before Marvel became Marvel.
Really?
But Marvel was about to become like Marvel. In the cinema world, Marvel's always been huge. So it was like Spider-Man 2, I think, was out. Something like that.
But you said it was a pop magazine by Marvel.
So what they would do is they would recycle. It was the original Spider-Man, actually. They would recycle old comics, and intersperse them with original content about comics. And I just started interviewing people about comics. So that's where Snoop Dogg came in. I interviewed Snoop Dogg and just asked him about comic books.
Really?
Yeah, I interviewed Randy Savage about being in the original Spider-Man. I interviewed the entire cast of Lord of the Rings about Spider-Man. Not about Spider-Man, about Marvel stuff. I forget. It's got Jet Li. That was another guy.
Wow, Jet Li.
Samuel L. Jackson, before he was cast as Nick Fury, I interviewed for that Marvel Comics.
Wow.
So a lot of that, and Randy Savage came about because I interviewed him and he loved the story that I wrote. So we kept in touch. And it just so happened that I had a trip in Orlando, Florida, and he was going to be in Orlando, Florida. And he called me.
I think he's from there, right? I think he's
Somewhere, Tampa, maybe. I don't know.
might have been, yeah.
I'm not sure. But he was judging a teen Miss something pageant. And I met him at hotel lobby. He was literally Macho Man. There was no distinction between. It was like he got off the elevator and he was like, whoosh. And I've interviewed Hulk Hogan before, and Hulk Hogan was not Hulk Hogan. Like, he wasn't like hulking up during the interview. He was just like, he was talking monotone. Macho Man was Macho Man. So Macho Man and he took me out for lunch. I had a beer with him. He got a Reuben sandwich. I'm like, I'll just get what you're getting. And we talked for like an hour and a half about how he was going to buy WCW and Vince McMahon and his relationship with Hogan. And it was a trip. But keep in mind, the entire time, he is literally talking the exact same way. So he's like, yeah, I'll have a Reuben sandwich for my New York friend. And that was a trip.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Man, you have some stories.
Yeah, man.
I have a few people on this list. So Snoop Dogg was because of the Marvel.
Yeah.
What about Meryl Streep?
Meryl Streep was for my Huffington Post stuff.
Okay.
When I was at Huffington Post for like 8 or 9 years, I forget.
Okay.
So a lot of the celebrity stuff was through Huffington Post. I interviewed her on a red carpet. Actually, yeah. It was actually like a smaller red carpet thing. So I actually had some time with her, which was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it the same for Woody Allen, Courtney Love, and Will Ferrell? It was through that.
Will Ferrell was a couple of times. Woody Allen was not a red carpet. It was a press junket. So it was like a round table thing. Who was the other one?
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love was one-on-one in Capitol Theater, Portchester.
Nice.
She, like, in the middle of the interview, threw her feet on my lap. It was like, Kurt said I had big feet. Do I have big feet? And I was like, no. Yeah.
Oh, man, you have stories.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into, you host events,
Yeah.
right? Let's talk a little bit about that. What type of events do you host?
Sure. So, so when I was at Huffington Post, I had this music series, which I brought back, and it's on Westchester Pop now, called A-Sides, where I interviewed musicians and then they performed a song, or I just interviewed them. So the events that I've been doing, mostly in people's homes, is it's either a house concert where people, if they want like a local musician or national, I book for whatever. I'll rewind and better answer what you just asked me. Since I'm literally answering this like Jimmy Snuka.
Oh,
just
man.
a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so house concerts where musicians, like, I'm the guy who can get you like a big name in your backyard or in your living room, or can get local talent to come in your home and you can have a party and invite your friends and stuff like that. What's the perk of that? The perk is you don't have to listen to people talking over the music, and you can have like an intimate experience and invite your friends and actually have something and do something different. The experience for the musician is rewarding because they can interact with the people and get to know them. Vice versa, right? It works both ways. But also they can be heard because they do bar gigs all the time and it's lame for them because people are just talking over them and all they want is to hear you play covers. So, but I've been going back to your original thing of like, oh, you do events. Yes. So I used to book shows at the studio at Webster Hall. I used to book shows at Garcia's. I used to book shows at the White Plains Performing Arts Center. Like I've always booked live music. I've booked comedy. I like whether it's books or whether it's, we do content, whether it's a podcast, whatever. I like creating things and actually doing them. Like I'm an idea guy, but I like doing stuff. There's so many people who just like throw ideas and feel like that's enough and then they leave the room and they feel like that's contributing. Like I actually want to like create an experience and follow through on it. And not saying all my ideas are great. They're not. I'd rather throw out ideas and like be told like, John, we can't do that, or John, that's shit, or do you have something better, or that was great. And that's what fulfills me. So the events are kind of like similar to the book where like you have something tangible to show for it. So I also book for nonprofits. I bring celebrities in. I can like build award shows and stuff like that for nonprofits. If they're looking to get top talent and raise money, I do that. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
As a creative, you have to get all the junk out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you think it's junk or other people might think it's junk, creatively, you have to get it out.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get that one out, you won't get to the next one.
Right.
I learned that.
Yeah.
You have to get this stuff out. It's in you. You're
Right.
always going to have it on your mind. Until you get it out and make it come true, then it's off your mind. And then your mind is ready for the next thing.
Right. And you can't be around people who suppress it either.
Of course not.
You have to just kind of work it out. Like I'm even working out now with like the Westchester Pop thing that I'm doing.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. What exactly is that? You're the founder of Westchester Pop.
Yeah. So the Westchester Pop, I bought that domain name probably 10 years ago. And I was at my buddy's place in Vegas, and it's not Vegas. He lives.
I was just about to ask.
Let's
talk about Vegas.
It's not like, it was not a real Vegas experience. He's a stoner who lives away from the strip, and we did most of the hanging like outside the strip, and he was just sitting on his couch. But anyway, it was not like a high roller. It was no like Hangover 2 situation. But anyway, I just kind of had this epiphany, like, I think it's time to do something. Like, I run my own social media firm. That's kind of what pays the bills. That's moving forward, connections, whatever. It's not whatever. We could talk about that. But the thing about me is that I wear a lot of hats intentionally, and I only do what I can handle. So Moving Forward Connections is my social media firm. I created that after working for assholes, to be honest with you. And I just was like, I got to do my own thing. And that kind of, we were talking about that before, how I shifted to marketing after the news. Like, so after working for too many assholes, I started my own marketing company. So after doing the marketing for 7-8 years, I was kind of feeling like I was on autopilot a little bit. And so I'm in Vegas, and I literally had the handle, the Westchester Pop, for 4 years. I had the website, thewestchesterpop.com, for 10. And I'm like, I want to do something with it. So bringing this back to wrestling, I cut a promo outside of In-N-Out Burger. And I was just, it was more of like Jerry Maguire Mission Statement. Jerry Maguire is another favorite movie. And it was just, this is what I want it to be. We're gonna cover local talent. We're gonna do this. There'll be reviews. I'll cover some stuff in the city and blah blah blah. And I just did that outside of In-N-Out Burgers. And the reason I did it at In-N-Out Burgers was I was like, well, people are probably going to look at this in Westchester and be like, why the hell is he at In-N-Out Burgers?
What is In-N-Out?
Or are they opening up an In-N-Out Burger in Westchester?
Yeah.
So I did that intentionally because I did catch shit from some people. And then I was lax again after that trip. So I got super motivated, and then I just kind of like fell on it. Like, what is it? And I'm still kind of feeling it out, but I know what it is.
What is
now? So the Westchester Pop is kind of a one-stop, like, Insta magazine is what I would say. So what I originally intended it as would be what the stuff I was doing on Huffington Post was, which is basically some reviews, some interviews, print or on video, and kind of like random shit, very well thought out.
But when you say pop, is it music based?
Pop culture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, music based, but pop culture, like anything imaginable, I would cover. And what I found is that's everything. So what the Westchester Pop is now, realizing that everyone has a 30-second attention span, is not so much an online magazine, although I am posting to the website, except less. It's, I was at this restaurant, check it out, but with a pop culture tint somehow. I was at this coffee shop, and I had a amazing latte. Check it out. But there's always like a pop culture hook. So like I was at the Producers Cafe in Portchester. The founder's a DJ, and the whole theme is music.
Oh, that's dope.
So I ranked it 1 to 10 or whatever, and I gave him 9 Jam Master J's. So like
creative.
So that's it. And like I was at another place, and I don't know, I gave him like 8 Rick Moranis's. I don't know, like it basically just like there's always pop culture tint. So there's that, and I'm at a lot of events, and there's that. So there's the social component of being in Westchester, and I mixed the pop culture stuff. And it's not just me eating food and saying this is delicious. It's mixed in with like me interviewing some of the people, me having an offshoot podcast, me having these events that I mentioned, the house party, or I book music for a bunch of different places, which I had done in the past, but I'm making it part of Westchester Pop now. So whether it's Barley's in Rye or Run and Hide in Portchester, like it's all kind of part of what I'm doing. And, but it's like a one-stop, like Insta magazine for pop culture. So like we see each other around, like obviously I'm out there, and I want to just kind of tell stories, and just because it's Westchester Pop doesn't mean that I'm not going to be in the city reviewing a Broadway show. It doesn't mean if I'm back in Vegas, I'm not going to be talking about an In-N-Out Burger. I think a big misconception a lot with when you label something Westchester, or you label something Connecticut, or you label something Fairfield, or you label your whatever, is that it's just that. And it doesn't have to be. Just because you live in Westchester doesn't mean you're just covering Westchester stuff. The best thing about Westchester is how close it is to the city, how close it is to Connecticut, how you got an airport right here that can take you anywhere. There's more and more options to fly out. So I'm just kind of open-minded. And I think when I first started the Westchester Pop, I really didn't know what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And going back to the brain always going and not really knowing, it's more defined now. And it wasn't when I first started. And you can look at the page now and be like, I don't think it's defined, John. Not really sure you're quite there.
Let's dive into the moving forward connections. You're the founder and president.
Yeah. So
this is more of the marketing agency that you created?
Yeah. So I created, again, going back, I was in marketing for a while. I was director of marketing communications for couple of nonprofits, couple of other places. And like I said, I just had a couple of run-ins where I worked for some not pleasant people, and I was getting clients on the side. I was taking on clients on the side. And I was just like, it got to the point where it felt like it would be too much of a risk not to go out on my own. It took 8 years, 8 years for me to get the guts to go out on my own.
It's the fear. Fear holds people back.
Yeah. And it finally got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I gotta just see what's going on. And it worked out really well. COVID happened and obviously took away all my clients, but I built it back up. But yeah, it's primarily social media. I'm still taking on social media clients. And it's me. I do have people who I work with to assist, but you basically get me. I'm very hands-on. And I enjoy it. It's very difficult. I feel like social media is getting more and more difficult because there's so much content out there. I mean, you and I are responsible for how many Instagram handles? If you and I talk right now, we're probably responsible for 7 handles, I'm guessing.
Well,
right?
7 to 10.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's just so much content. So when you're managing other people's and you're managing your own, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
But
I do the same. I do for some businesses too. It is a lot.
It's a lot. So, but I do enjoy it. And I especially enjoy it when there's results. I especially enjoy that. But there's not always results. And there's also unreasonable expectations. And
absolutely.
That is
people think
difficult.
Virality is the goal.
Yeah.
And I tell people that's not the goal.
Yeah.
As a business, your goal is to make as much content on as many platforms as possible. So when someone is searching for what you're offering, they find you.
Yeah.
That was well said.
That was. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. Do we pause for applause now?
They're doing it at home.
They're doing it at home. I do think that we're so driven on views.
Yeah.
And it's just, in order to get anything, you have to do everything.
Yeah. You have to hit everything on the button.
Yeah.
But it's very simple too, because the content has to make sense with the bio, the hashtags, the location, the music. Everything has to all make sense.
Yeah.
I think that's when you could maybe get into the algorithm a little bit. Maybe they'll push you out there more when everything lines up.
Right.
Just keep lining everything up. Keep posting consistently. Something's going to hit.
Right. And provide the content. If you're a business who, I'm speaking from experience right now. If you're a client who is not willing to give content and expects results, you're not getting anything.
What do you mean they're not willing to give content?
There's a lot of people who I've worked with who do not openly give their time. So there's no content coming, but they expect it to come out of thin air. So that's a problem that I've had. And I think the bigger problem is basically, and you run into this a lot, it's people who don't understand social media or the importance, but know that they have to do it and don't know where to start, but won't listen. So that can be tiring.
That's tough.
So I think that honestly is what drove me to Westchester Pop, is having a couple of those clients. But when you have a client where synergistically, is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I think we understand it.
If not, let's make that a word. When you're like kind of, seeing things together, there's no better feeling.
Of course.
And I don't care if you have 300 views or 300,000. If the 300 view one is getting people in your business, that's what matters.
That's what matters.
And so many people get so caught up with the lights, I don't know, the numbers, and they're losing sight of like, well, you're a local business in, I was going to say Bumblefuck, but it's not not Bumblefuck. You're a small business in small town USA. It doesn't matter if you're blowing up. What matters is that organically you have people in your area finding you, and they came in because they saw that.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Going viral is nice though.
Of course.
But so is actually getting asses in your place.
That's what matters more than virality.
Yeah.
Because it could just be a post people like and share, and nobody comes to your store.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you have a client that doesn't help you out with anything? It's just they expect you to be everything, the creative, everything. Just make it happen. You got it.
Sometimes I'll just stop and leave. Like, that's it. Or literally I'll just put creative content, and I'd rather do something and then get burned for it. And by burned, it means like, John, we really don't like that post. We think it doesn't fit with our blah, blah, blah. I'm basically talking about like kind of dry clients. And there are certain clients who don't have the bandwidth to understand any of this shit. Yeah. And by the way, it's funny because I do have people who say to me like, I don't even have my own Instagram. And I'm like, don't.
Yeah, you don't need one.
Like, don't. Like, it's a rabbit hole. Don't. But for your business, you need it.
Absolutely.
Like, don't. Like, honestly, don't.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole. Like, honestly, stay away. It's fine. But for the most part, honestly, I'll show them other accounts that I run, or I'll schedule a meeting, or I'll leave. Because otherwise, I'm just collecting a paycheck and driving myself insane.
Yeah, trying to figure out what to do for the person.
It's almost like I'd rather take the financial hit and just, because you'll take a hit differently. You're going to put in the work. You're going to put in the effort. You're not going to get the results. They're not going to be happy with you. So what do you gain?
Waste of time.
Yeah. I mean, you gain money, but you don't feel good about it.
Not at all.
And it's just kind of like it's a means to an end.
They don't feel good about it. You don't feel good about it.
It's a means to an end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest business to make content for? I feel like food, restaurant, bars, those are the easiest ones.
I'm gonna reveal the
what?
The client if
you can't even just say the
because I can't, because it's the only particular thing that I rep. Hookers are probably really tough. I don't know. No, I would say like, it's very, I would think that even like real estate has gotten better. Like I don't do real estate. I don't rep any of them, but like, with the drones and other stuff, like it's more creative than I think it had been. Cause I used to rep like some real estate, and it used to be challenging. Like, oh, look here, it's another picture of a house. But let me see if I can say it like without saying it.
Yeah.
Private investigators, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't say anything.
Yeah.
You can't really promote that business.
Yeah. That's like not even like close to what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But no, There's like some very, you know what? I think that with any business, you can do something creative. You have to be willing to be creative.
Absolutely.
And I think you have to like get outside of your comfort zone and realize like, hey, if you do something a little creative, it's not going to make you lose customers. If you're going to do something that's completely unorthodox and like completely, in bad taste, then yeah. But like,
if the core is your business, you're not really doing wrong. If the core of the content is, business.
Yeah. I mean, like you can, I'll give you an example. Like I had a client and I was like, you know what? Like you're at this restaurant, just post a picture or a video and just compliment the restaurant, because then you can tag that restaurant and maybe they'll share it in stories and maybe you'll reach something. Like I know it's not your business, but you're going to possibly reach a different audience. No, I don't know. And I'm like, but it's something different.
Absolutely.
People are going to look at it because instead of the same vanilla, boring shit that we always post, I didn't say this, but like, I did say like instead of the same boring shit, no, instead of the same stuff, people are going to be like, oh, that's interesting. He's in a whatever.
You're right. It could be a law firm. You post your lunch, you tag they repost it. Now everybody on that person's story now knows you exist.
Something different. It doesn't. You don't have to like go nuts. Just a little bit.
That's
a little bit.
Just to be seen.
Even if it is a law firm, talking to Starbucks. You want to do a testimonial or something? Do it in a Starbucks. At the very least, it's a tag. Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah. They could get shared.
Yeah.
What religion do you grow up practicing?
Bad Jew.
Bad Jew?
Bad Jew.
What does that mean?
I'm non-practicing.
Oh, you're not practicing. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a relationship with God?
I have a funny. That's interesting. I've never been asked that. So I would say I'm spiritual. I do believe in God. Yeah, I grew up in a very like weird Jewish home. So like that's why I'm not religious and why I say I'm a bad Jew. I'm not really a bad Jew. Like no one's bad at anything, right?
You're just better if you practice it more? Is that what it is?
No, there's no bad or good. Yeah. I think that the reason why I don't practice is because I feel like you should be full throttle if you are. And I'm not. So I don't practice. Like if I don't believe in a holiday or something, I'm not going to just, for what?
Absolutely.
Like the Jewish holidays for me were a day off of school. It wasn't for me to celebrate the holiday. So that's why like when I became an adult, I was like, I'm good.
So when you say you're spiritual, what do you mean?
I mean, I believe that there's something out there. And I think that there's something bigger than us, I'm not really into religion of any kind. I meditated for a while, and meditating was like outer worldly for me when I did it. And really like, I feel like it made me a better person. And I feel like it brought me closer to something that I feel like people experience with religion and God. And then I stopped.
You had enough?
What is this feeling good bullshit?
You dipped your toe in and said, I know it exists, I'm good.
I don't like this feeling good shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I actually did stop just because like having kids and everything. It's just impossible to find the time. You can make time, by the way, to meditate. That's a bullshit excuse because you can make time to find 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
But I was hardcore. I was doing 20 minutes twice a day for meditation and like chanting myself to sleep with like the chant of this group that I went to. And like it was working. And I felt like I had a higher tolerance for other people's bullshit. And I didn't judge people as much. And I do still feel like I have those qualities.
Absolutely. It doesn't go away.
Yeah. Like it still stayed with me. I definitely need time to slow down. I feel like, especially, and you know this, I'm sure, like this phone just occupies way too much of my time. And I'm not like saying anyone's special. I think it occupies everyone's time. But like me especially, I feel it. Like I know that I'm on my phone too much. And with the meditation, at least twice a day, I knew for 20 minutes I was going to detox. And that's gone. So
Bring it back. Even for 5 minutes, you should
I know.
bring a little bit back.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you think of success, who's the first person you think of?
Interesting. Person I know or anybody?
Anyone, dead or alive.
That's interesting. I want to say my dad. I mean, he's a retired teacher, but just more because he doesn't give a fuck. I think that's why. Like, I mean, like he's had, and honestly, I get into like kind of like verbal fisticuffs with him a lot because he doesn't give a fuck and he says whatever he wants a lot and like, but like that's success, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like to reach a level, you went into a career that you were happy with, you retired, and just to be at a level where you're so comfortable in your skin that you feel like you could say whatever you want.
Living through his truth.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
I guess that's,
I like it.
you know, like he's rocking like a Kamala button. He's like always been a lifelong Democrat, but like, you know, no one really anymore like shows their political stuff like out in the open. Like I was like, Dad, be careful. And like, by the way, I would say this to like Trump people too, like, be careful. Like, and he's like, I don't care. And like, I think that's success. But I also think success is, I used to equate success with money. And I think success is not money. I think it's just being comfortable in your own skin. I think that's why it went to my dad.
Yeah.
Because I'm not always comfortable in my own skin. And like, I'm never really fully satisfied with myself.
That's normal.
Yeah.
We're our biggest critics.
Yeah.
What are 3 things you need to be happy?
3 things I need to be happy. I have 3 kids, so I'm going to.
That's beautiful. First time I got that on the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
All 3 of them.
Very nice. What's the most exciting thing you ever did?
I covered the Oscar red carpet.
Wow. Is that where a lot of the interviews came? Because you were like interviewing.
No. A lot of the interviews were just sit downs.
Oh, nice. That's even better.
But the Oscars was like the culmination of everything. Like I covered the Oscars red carpet for the Huffington Post, and like, again, going back to that whole thing about like movies being escape. I watched the Oscar, like, how many like 9-year-olds or 7-year-olds do you know that was like looking forward to the Oscars?
I used to watch award shows as a kid, but my main thing was the movies that I liked. I'm hoping they won, and the music performances. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
Everything else, I didn't really care.
I was like hardcore, like into movies and like crazy. Like I did my Oscar predictions. I still do. But I did them like as a kid. And to cover the Oscars, I never thought I would ever do that. And the day before, I covered the Independent Spirit Awards, and I watched those too.
Wow.
And like in those 2 days, I interviewed like crazy people, and I met crazy people. But just to even be there, I don't care who the hell I interviewed those days, but like just to see everyone was insane.
Incredible.
Yeah.
As you get older, what has become more important and less important?
Less important is what other people think of me. And that's all I used to care about. I don't care what anyone thinks of me anymore. And what's most
and least?
I mean, this is also going to go back to my kids, but I should probably give a different answer, right? I mean, like any parents can say what's most important is their kids,
Absolutely.
right? I think most important is just sustainability. Like I want to do what I love and get compensated for it. So I don't want to have to do 12 different things just to make a living.
Absolutely. And that was definitely one of the reasons that it took you 8 years to do your own thing. You especially with a family, you have to be able to provide.
Yeah.
And becoming an entrepreneur is tough. The first few years, it's tough.
Yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about your mental health, but I think the meditation is pretty much...
Meditation. I have anxiety. Overall, I mean, like, honestly, just anxiety is pretty much a constant. But it all goes hand in hand with everything I probably told you, right?
Of course.
Like if you look at it, like too much time on the phone, too much time creating content, not enough time to just stop and A, smell the roses, B, like just be silent.
Yep.
All causes anxiety.
I agree.
And do the next thing. What am I doing next? Oh, I got to post this. Oh, I got to do this. I got to write that review. I got to do this. And then you add the layer of, I got to take my kids to school. I got to coach Little League. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a never ending shit show.
Absolutely.
It's fine. It's totally fine. But
if you could have any question answered, what would you ask? And anything, even the time you're going to die, any question.
Any question answered?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what's it all about?
Life?
Yeah.
Supposedly, we're here to, take care of the earth. We're the highest intelligence here. We're supposed to take care of the earth.
Yeah. I think that is probably true. And I think we're doing a bang up
shitty job. The beautiful thing, social media has a lot of negatives, but the beautiful thing about social media is brought awareness to a lot of going on in the world. And when people see this, they're trying to help, they're trying to make a change, they're trying to make things better. So social media definitely has helped with, I think, saving the planet a little bit more.
Here's what I hate about people who say social media is horrible, which, by the way, I agree.
Yeah,
I think it is. I think it's horrible. But what I tell prospective clients who I'm trying to close with, and by the way, it's not bullshit. This is how I really feel. You can use it for what you want it to be. And it's not like an amazing statement, but use it the way it uses you. So there's clients who I have that are nonprofits or like literally saving the planet. And that's 10 times more important than your cheese pull.
If it's a good cheese pull, I don't know.
Yeah, listen. I don't really do very good cheese pulls. I don't. I have failed at them. But, I mean, those are nice. But if you can show volunteers cleaning up a river, you're going to get more volunteers. Similarly, you show a good cheese pull, you might get some customers. So it all works. I get it. But this notion of anyone can film something and become all of a sudden,
Haktua.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's the same thing. Like, no, I have a journalism degree. If I write a review, it's different than someone who just starts a blog. It's different. I do think that there is a difference between being a content creator and just starting an Instagram and filming shit. I think there's a difference.
100% there's a difference.
So I think that, social media is important. And at the same, speaking both sides of my mouth, I think it's terrible.
It is.
I mean, it is a complete disaster. However, I agree with you. I mean, I think that it raises a lot of awareness. And I mean, dude with sign, yes, most of his shit is ridiculous. But how much exposure is he bringing to some good causes when he like partners with somebody? Like maybe he's not the best example, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's an example.
Yeah.
There was a lot in this podcast. Is there anything that I didn't touch that you think we should
edit
talk
the
about?
fuck out of this. People are going to be like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He is completely ADD. He's fucking hanging out with Jimmy Snuka. I don't even know where to begin with this guy. I feel sorry for your editing. Just cut the second half
I don't
out.
edit much. I just let it rip.
Yeah?
I love it.
How long have we been talking?
It has been an hour and 16 minutes.
Okay.
Beautiful. I can go for 2 hours. It's nothing.
That's not terrible.
Not at all.
Cut that down to a minute 30.
A minute 30.
That's what I love. That's what I love, by the way, that I've found, like when I did the whole Westchester Pop thing and I'm doing podcasts and I'm like, people are going to listen. And then I'm like, fuck. People are going to watch the minute and 30 clip or 30-second clip. That's it.
That's it.
Such
so
a
many
bummer.
people tell me they watch my stuff, but they literally just watch the clip.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
No, you didn't see that one.
Yeah.
You didn't see it.
But people will find it, though. People have gone back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't mind the views. Like we were saying earlier,
Yeah.
I don't care about the views.
Yeah, it's all about doing it, and you'll find an audience. And listen, all the people that bought my books are going to listen to this.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to leave the links to all the books down in the description, too.
Awesome, man.
If you had one law that everybody on Earth had to follow, what would it be?
Oof. One law?
Yep. Everyone on Earth had to follow.
So there's one so like there's the deep philosophical thing where I was going to say like be kind but mean it. But what I really want to say is don't honk your horn the second that it turns green. Because I've noticed since COVID everyone does that like the very second.
Everybody's in a rush.
To go nowhere.
Nowhere. To the next light.
Yeah.
To stop again.
I've done it twice. I've done this twice where someone has done that to me, honked their horn, and they ultimately were 2 lanes and they speed up and they go past me and then we're at the same next light. And I've done it twice where I've rolled down my window and I say to them, how far did you get?
Do they ever say anything?
One person gave me the finger and the other person just looked down.
I like that.
I'll take the finger. That's fine. Because you know I'm right.
100%.
So that's the law. Don't honk your horn at a red light.
Give it a few seconds. 5 seconds?
5-second rule.
Because a lot of people nowadays are at the green light looking at their phone.
Yeah.
Too.
What's the rule where you drop food and you can still eat it?
5-second rule?
Yeah. So 5-second rule.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or is it 10? 10-second rule? 5-second rule?
No.
Yeah, whatever. Just put your phone down and take your time driving.
My kids probably got a 10-minute rule.
Oh, kids. What are your overall life goals?
To be satisfied.
I like it.
Yeah.
Down 55 pounds in a year.
How do you know that?
I know a lot. I did a lot of research.
What is that? Are you on my OnlyFans page?
It's just a list of my questions.
How are you? I
do a lot of research,
I don't
my
know where
friend.
I posted that. Wow.
How'd you do that? I honestly can't remember where I got that information either.
I didn't know I put that.
But I got it.
I joined a gym called U-Box in Larchmont. I am more than happy to give them a shout out. They are circuit training, 12 rounds, 3 minutes on, 2 exercises per station. 3 minutes on, 30 seconds off. And I joined there maybe 13 months ago. And they somehow got me completely into a gym rat. And I started at, first of all, super nice people. The reason I signed up and like just stay there is there's 2 personal trainers on the floor at any time. So whether there's one person in the gym, it's happened, one person in the gym or 20, there's 2 personal trainers on the floor. So you're getting personal training every time you're there. Correcting your form, not making you feel shitty about it either, just really helping you. And I started out once a week, then twice, and now I'm at 6 times a week. And I go every morning, and just the trainers there are really nice. They have there's a really nice community there. Everyone kind of, even if it's a quick hello or whatever, you're kind of like in it. Because it happens so fast, you kind of kick your own ass, and then when you leave, you're like, what the fuck did I just do? like I burned 800 calories in 40 minutes, and the weight just came off. And it's funny because people are either really nice about it, or they're just like, you look too thin, right? But it's funny. Oh, did you reach your goal now? I get that a lot now. And I'm like, I'm literally just going. It's like a part of my life now.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just a lifestyle. And but I do credit them because, I mean, obviously I credit them because that's why I'm here like this. But never did I feel like any pressure of like, hey, when are you coming back? Tomorrow? I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Or like, I didn't really feel anything with their training staff either of like, while I was working out, of like, hunch over, or you're hunching over, or like, you know, that weight's too much for you. Or like, it's really like, John, what you want to do is, you know, you want to, you know, you're arching your back a little, so do this. Like, I still get tips because my form is always going to not, I have years of not having good form. I'm not going to magically, after a year, get better. I'm still going to be the shits at the gym.
Absolutely.
But they're responsible for it. I mean, obviously I did the work, but like they helped me get to where I am.
What about your diet? You didn't change anything about your diet?
I changed my diet. Yeah. Right. I mean, I don't drink anymore. I definitely watch what I eat because you're putting in all that work, and then you feel like, you know, I remember I put in all the work, and it's funny. I don't drink so much, and I'm a big IPA guy, and I haven't had an IPA in like 8 months. I don't drink less for the calories, more because I don't want to feel like shit if I go to the gym the next morning.
That's beautiful.
So like, it's not even, it's funny. Like if I wasn't going to the gym tomorrow and like there was a beer, might have it. I mean, a lot of the events that we go to have drinks. I'll have a drink every now and then. Yeah. But it's going to be a cocktail versus like a heavy IPA or whatever. But for the most part, I really don't drink.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the best way to be. It's poison.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end of the podcast. If you could please let the people know where they could find you, anything you have coming up that you want them to tune into, and any last advice.
Sure. So you can find me at the Westchester Pop on Instagram. It's thewestchesterpop.com. If you want to read long-winded articles. I'm just kidding. It's at the Westchester Pop on Instagram. It's at Moving Forward Connections. That's my social media business. A-Sides Events, I'm starting up. That's the events on Instagram. And
any last advice you'd like to leave the people?
Be patient with yourself. That's my advice.
I like it. Do the work, but be patient.
Yeah, just be patient. You're always a work in progress.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for being a guest on my show.
Thanks, man.
It was great.
Thanks, dude. Sorry it was so long.
The longer the better.
Yeah?
More conversation, more in-depth stories. I love it.
Yeah.
I love these stories. They were great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace and love.
Thanks, dude.
My pleasure.